I never thought picking up a hitchhiker would lead to something like this. It was a dark, rainy night when I saw her standing under a flickering streetlight, soaked and desperate for a ride. She climbed in without a word, her grin a little too wide, a little too eager. I didn't think much of it until I came back from the gas station and found her, gone. But that wasn't the worst part. When I got home, the blanket I always keep in my back seat was gone, replaced by damp, strange stains. Later that night, I woke up to a figure crouched in the corner of my room just watching me. Who was she really? And what did she want from me? Stick with me till the end of this video because you won't believe what happened next. But before we start, don't forget to hit subscribe or follow so you'll never miss a spine-tingling episode. If you're enjoying our content, please give us a like, drop a comment, and share this video to help us reach 100 likes. Every like brings us one step closer to the next terrifying episode. And if you want even more creepy content, follow us on our social media platforms for the latest updates. Thank you all for being part of this journey with me. And now, let's dive into the darkness together. It was a wet, murky night, the kind where the rain blankets everything in stillness. I was heading home from a late shift at a cozy roadside cafe nestled on the edge of a small town. Despite the quiet shift, I was buzzing with excess energy, something a dose of melatonin would surely fix once I got home. My usual route took me down a scenic highway that offered beautiful views during the day, but turned into an ominous, shadowy trail at night. It was sparsely lit, only the occasional glowing sign from mom-and-pop stores or local eateries breaking the darkness. The rest? Just long stretches of dense, whispering forest. As I passed one of the small parking lots, a familiar one next to a popular local sandwich shop, I saw her. A tall, lean woman, perhaps in her mid-50s, was standing under a flickering light post, completely soaked and signaling for help. I hesitated only for a second before slowing down and rolling down the passenger window. "Need a lift?" I called out. She didn't hesitate. She rushed over, praising me as a hero, and climbed in before I could even unlock the door fully. She said she was just heading a bit further into town. Her clothes were drenched, leaving wet marks on the seat, but I couldn't bring myself to care. I wouldn't abandon another woman in the freezing rain. She was oddly chipper. Despite her wide smile, something about her unnerved me. A few teeth were missing, and her soaked hair clung limply to her face, hiding just enough to make you uncomfortable. I started to wonder if she might be homeless, but she didn't have the smell or look of someone living on the streets, at least not that I could tell through the rain. Eventually, we approached a four-way intersection with a gas station on one corner. I decided to pull in and fill up. I asked if she wanted anything, trying to be generous, but she politely declined. I left her in the car and went inside to pay and grab some hard seltzers for the weekend. When I came back out, she was gone. The passenger door was closed, and there was no sign of her. I walked around the tiny lot, even peeked into the back area behind the station. Nothing. Just rain and silence. I told myself maybe she caught a bus or called someone. Still, a strange chill settled in my chest. Back home, I rushed into my small apartment on the first floor of a two-family home. The main front door to the foyer was typically left unlocked, but each apartment had its own secure door. I was wet and tired. I tossed the drinks on the counter and popped that melatonin, hoping it would calm the whirlwind of thoughts spinning in my mind. Sleep came slowly. I couldn't shake the image of the woman. Something about her eyes stayed with me. I thought I heard sounds during the night. Gentle creaks, muffled thuds, but chalked them up to the upstairs tenant or my imagination. I finally drifted off. I woke in pitch black, disoriented and oddly parched. I reached for my water, but that's when I saw it. A silhouette. Someone was crouched in the far corner of my bedroom, legs folded unnaturally behind my dresser. My body froze. I blinked rapidly, shook my head, even slapped my cheek, praying I was dreaming. But then, the figure stood up and calmly walked out of the room. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. There were no sounds, no footsteps, no doors opening. Just silence. as if the night swallowed them whole. Heart racing, I called my dad. He sounded groggy, confused, and told me I likely had a night terror. I wanted to believe him. I turned on all the lights and searched my tiny apartment. No one was there. Nothing out of place. I finally locked my bedroom door and slept with one eye open. In the morning, still rattled, I brewed coffee and prepared to head to the gym. But when I opened the door to the foyer, I noticed something chilling. The outer door was already unlocked. Had I forgotten to lock it? Or had someone left? I tried to shake the thought as I walked to my car. I opened the back door to toss in my gym bag and froze. The blanket I always kept there was gone, and in its place were strange, damp, yellow-brownish stains on the floor of the back seat. My stomach dropped. It hit me like a train. That woman. She must have climbed into the back seat while I was in the gas station. And then, somehow, she had followed me inside. I called my dad again, nearly in tears. He told me unless something was stolen, the police wouldn't likely help. I checked everything. Nothing was missing, except that blanket. I skipped the gym. I locked every door and stayed home for days. The eerie feeling of being watched lingered. I couldn't relax in that apartment again. Within the month, I found a new place across town and moved out. But even now, I double-check my back seat every time I get in the car. And I always lock the door behind me. It was a quiet Monday night, and I had just clocked out of my day job at around 7 p.m. Instead of heading straight home, I fired up my delivery app and decided to do a short door runner shift. Just a few more orders to pad the week's earnings. Nothing unusual had happened all evening. I'd dropped off about 7 or 8 meals across suburban neighborhoods, each house blending into the next under the dim glow of porch lights. My final drop-off took me about 20 minutes outside of the city, near the edge of Clearwater Valley. A long stretch of farmland and open country roads. After delivering the food, I started the drive back into town toward my apartment. The road was dark, no streetlights for miles, just the occasional flicker of a distant farmhouse window, or the soft hum of my headlights cutting through the misty night. That's when I saw him. A lone figure stood ahead in the middle of the road. I slowed down instinctively. The man shuffled slightly to one side but didn't fully step off the asphalt. As I approached, his hand rose slowly, thumb extended in the universal sign for help. The closer I got, the more I could make out in the glow of my headlights. He looked to be in his early 50s, with a heavy-looking backpack strapped to his shoulders and dark circles hanging under his eyes like bruises. He looked exhausted, worn out, but not threatening. I rolled down the window. "You need a ride somewhere?" I asked, already guessing the answer. "Just into town," he said, voice gravelly but polite. "You're a lifesaver." Before I could say anything else, he opened the passenger door and climbed right into the front seat. That alone struck me as strange. Most hitchhikers take the back, right? But I didn't say anything. I was already heading that way, and he didn't seem dangerous at first. As he settled in, I glanced behind him toward the empty field he had come from. Nothing but swaying tall grass and darkness stretching for miles. No car, no house, just open land. "Are you local?" I asked, trying to make small talk. "Nah," he replied, eyes fixed ahead. "Been traveling across states, visiting family. Don't got a car, so I hitch where I can." I nodded. His answers were short, vague, and oddly disinterested, like he didn't want to connect. I tried asking where he was from, but he gave the kind of answers you'd expect from someone who didn't want to be found. That's when I noticed something even more unsettling. He kept glancing into my back seat, not once or twice, repeatedly. His eyes scanned the area behind us like he was either looking for something or planning something. The air in the car shifted. Something about him was wrong. "You okay, man?" I asked, still watching the road. Silence. I looked over at him. His head turned slowly, locking me in a cold, dead stare. And that's when I saw it. A knife, glinting slightly in the dim light, clenched tightly in his right hand. "Pull over," he muttered. I didn't say a word. just stopped the car in the middle of the empty road. My heart pounded in my throat. I didn't know what his plan was, but I figured if I cooperated, I might get out of this alive. I slowly reached for the door handle to exit. "Get in the back," he said. I froze. His hand tightened on the blade. Something about the way he said it told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't just a robbery. If I moved to the back seat, I wouldn't be coming out again. That's when I saw it. The top flap of his backpack had fallen open slightly at his feet. Inside, I spotted a bundle of thick rope. Nope. I didn't think, I just acted. I flung the door open and launched myself out of the car in one quick motion. He lunged across the front seat, reaching for me, but I was already sprinting across the road and into the tall grass. I didn't stop. I didn't look back. I ran through the field like my life depended on it, because it did. Eventually, I dropped low into the brush, breathing hard, heart hammering in my ears. I could hear him yelling, a few loud, angry shouts. Then, silence. Just the rustle of the wind in the grass. I stayed still, hidden, motionless for what felt like forever. When everything stayed quiet, I slowly crept back toward the road. My car's headlights still shone across the pavement, and the driver's side door was wide open. No sign of the man. I waited, watched, scanned every shadow. Then I made my move. I sprinted up to the car, grabbed my phone from the console, and bolted right back into the grass to call 911. I didn't know where he was, and I wasn't taking any chances. When the police finally arrived, the man was long gone. The strange part? He didn't take the car. Didn't steal a thing. He must have grabbed his bag and vanished into the fields. Maybe even tried following me into the tall grass, but gave up. Whatever his plan was, it wasn't just robbery. That much was clear. The knife, the rope, the way he looked at the back seat. I gave the authorities a full description, but there haven't been any leads. I've driven that route since, and I can't help but look into the tall grass every time, half expecting to see someone standing there, waiting. It was a late fall evening, and I was on my way home after a long shift at a warehouse. The hours had been grueling, and all I wanted was to crawl into bed and forget about the day. The road I usually took home was quiet, a winding stretch that ran through dense woods and farms, perfect for avoiding traffic, but a little eerie at night. I was about halfway home when I saw him. A man was standing at the edge of the road, his thumb outstretched. I slowed down instinctively. Most of the time, I would pass on picking up hitchhikers, but something about him made me hesitate. His figure was hunched, and he seemed oddly familiar, though I couldn't place where I had seen him before. His clothes were old, ragged, but not so dirty. His face was hidden beneath the shadow of a wide-brimmed hat, and he was standing under the sparse glow of a single streetlight. I rolled my window down slightly, keeping my eyes on him. "Where you headed?" I asked, my voice carrying through the quiet night. He looked up slowly, and for the first time, I saw his eyes, sunken, bloodshot, and wide open in a way that felt unnatural. He gave a slow smile, revealing teeth that looked yellowed and crooked, and his voice was scratchy when he answered. "Just need a ride to the next town. It's not far," he said, his tone strangely calm. Something about him made my skin crawl. I hadn't seen many hitchhikers in this part of town, and certainly not at this hour, but I figured it was a small gesture and he seemed harmless enough. Against my better judgment, I unlocked the door and let him in. As soon as the passenger door clicked open, he slid inside without a word. He didn't smell, which was unusual for someone traveling on foot for any length of time, but his presence was off. His clothes were soaked from the rain, though the wetness didn't seem to bother him. I started driving again, trying to ignore the nagging feeling in my gut. He didn't speak for the first few minutes. I tried making small talk, asking where he was from, what brought him out here, but he barely responded. His eyes kept flicking to the rearview mirror, and I could tell he was studying the back seat. I found this odd, but I chalked it up to the weirdness of the situation. Then, without warning, he leaned closer to me, and his breath on my neck made me freeze. "You know," he said softly, "I could have been following you for miles." just waiting for the right moment. A chill ran down my spine. "What do you mean?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "You've been driving through my territory," he murmured. "I've been watching you." His voice was low, almost too calm, and it made my blood run cold. His hand, which had been resting on his lap, now shifted. I caught a glimpse of something sharp in his grip, a glint of steel. I didn't need to see it clearly to know what it was. I slammed my foot on the brake, pulling the car to a sudden stop in the middle of the dark road. The man didn't react right away, but his eyes gleamed with something unsettling. "Get out of the car," I ordered, my hands gripping the steering wheel, heart pounding. I didn't wait for him to say anything else. I swung open the door and bolted out into the night, the rain pelting me as I ran toward the trees. I didn't look back. I couldn't. I just kept running, my breath ragged, my heart in my throat. I heard him shout from behind me, but I didn't stop. The sound of his footsteps was growing fainter, and soon it was drowned out by the wind and the rain. I kept running until I found a small dirt road, and from there, I flagged down another car. The driver took me to the nearest gas station, and I called the police. I gave them a description of the man, but they never found him. The most unsettling part? I could never shake the feeling that I wasn't his first target. The way he spoke about following me, like he had been planning this for a while, haunted me. I haven't taken that road since, and I never pick up hitchhikers anymore. There's something about the way he looked at me that I can't forget. I still wonder if he's out there, waiting for the next car to come by. If you've made it to the end of this video, let me know in the comments which story creeped you out the most. And if you could survive only one of these stories, which one would it be? Also, drop "I made it" and mention our channel in the comments below. I want to know who my loyal followers are so I can give you a shout out in our next videos. And lastly, if you've experienced a terrifying encounter or have a horror story to share, send it to us on Reddit. And if you want to support the channel and help us create even more spine-chilling content, check out our Patreon or Ko-Fi. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to like and share the video, and now, stay tuned for our next horror episode.